are you talking about? Look at this beautiful place we're living in. It's quiet, it's nice. Well, we all know the story. So my mother stood in a line. She went that way. 4 brothers and sisters and her parents the other way. And she, in the camps, they found partners to help them survive, and she had lifelong friends that she, from being in the camps, one lived in Toronto and one lived in New York, and the 3 women remained friends forever and ever. And the stories are horrific that she would tell us. I do have her testimony that she did with Steven Spielberg, so I have that to look at every once in a while. And my dad, like Eileen's father, also fought with the Polish partisans. Similar story. It's like amazing. Can you imagine? I mean, they lived underground. They built that's how they lived. He has a friend who actually I've never met. His name is Aviel Avram, and he wrote a book called A Village Called Galashuk. I can't pronounce that word. And it talks about the experience that they had. And I'm very glad he did that because my father didn't like to talk about it. And I'm going to be lucky enough, where's Marlene and Eileen and Robbie and I are staying for 2 days afterwards in Tel Aviv. And this man is alive and he lives in Tel Aviv, and I am going to meet him. So, and one more thing I want to say, and I'm looking at Barry. You know, what we've learned from her is to be thankful for everything we have. And God, and I think about our parents. I walk out of my garage to my house in winter, I'm cold, you know, and you think, oh my God, look, they were hungry, they were cold, they were frightened, and we have to thank God for everything that we have.
I remember when we would complain, my mother would say,
Can I say one more thing?
Yes,
One
please.
last thing?
You do.
I just want to say my parents are also survivors, but
Please say your name.
the unique. Oh, Marlene Wolf. And my father was also in the Polish partisan and escaped and got caught and escaped and got caught. But my mother was in Auschwitz, and her sister survived, but nobody else. And the 2 of them, I think, if you were strong and you could work, you could survive. But the uniqueness of our relationship with Eileen and Roz and myself is our parents were best friends.
Oh my God.
And so we grew up from birth together, the 3 of us. And we had a very different childhood. I mean, you know, we didn't have dolls and games and toys and stuff like that, but we had each other. And our parents would schlep us everywhere. They would play cards. That was their entertainment. We'd stay up to 1, 2 o'clock in the morning at everybody's houses and rotate around. And, you know, we had our own little ghetto in the United States. And, you know, that's their comfort zone. So it was very cool, and we were very grateful to be able to do this together.
my grandfather. That's the story, right? My grandfather was living in America, my grandmother and grandfather, my mother's mother and father. And he went back to Poland when things started getting bad to try to bring his whole family. And he has a picture of his entire family all together. He's wearing a white hat because he was from America, the Supers. They were all wearing darker hats. And it was an entire family. And he said, let me help you get out. Let me help you get out. They said, it's not so bad. It's not this. It might get worse. But they said, we can't leave. One of our sisters is pregnant. As soon as she has the baby, we'll come. And that was it. They had the family picture. They left. And then they started sending letters in code because you couldn't send out. And in Yiddish, they would write, you know, they would write a word like, you know, the food is getting, you know, not good. It's not tasty. We have to get the food out of the country where they have better food. And on, different codes like that. And none of the family was thought to have survived at all. And there were about 4 sisters, 3 brothers, and some grandchildren and grandparents. And The one thing they did, the two things, they buried 2 silver candelabras that were my great-grandmother's in the war, and they managed to get out where it was, or they looked, and then when they came back, they did not survive. It turned out 2 brothers after the war, they found out, did survive. And they went to pick up, my grandmother went, this is her husband's brothers, and they got a phone call from the airport that somebody was brought in, they think they're related. My mother and her brother ran to the airport. They said, how will we ever know? They were young children at the time. They were like 13 and 15. How will we ever know who who the grandfather's brother is? They get to the airport, and I don't know if you ever saw, but there's rubber bands. 1 second. They used to flip it. My grandfather had this habit. He used to put rubber bands on the door, and he used to go like this sometimes, I guess when he was thinking. All of a sudden, they see a man come off the plane, and he's going like this. They hadn't seen each other since they were young kids, but they were doing this together. And then, one of the brothers, my grandmother had to go to Washington, because as soon as they landed, they sent them straight to Cuba. You couldn't even get in. It wasn't the quota. And they brought in the two surviving brothers. And when we go to and my grandparents, thank God, okay, they're my great-grandparents, Rifki and I, and Reese's great-grandparents. Today, like my uncle, my mother, they had not so many children. We're from a family of 4 sisters. My cousin is 7. The other one is only 5. Not a lot. 3 children. 3 children. That's all. The whole surviving for the 3 children. Right now, those children became very religious, and they each have like 10 or 12 children from my grandparents right now. From 2 people that managed to be here. There are over 100 of grandchildren, great-grandchildren. So that's what we have to live for, and that's what each of you has. And we're all here, and we're all carrying on, and we're all the same, because when they look at us, whether we're this or that, and set it inside, they see us as Jews, and they just want to, get rid. So each one of you, by being here, and by being in Israel and looking around, you are the true survivors, and you're the ones who are going to carry on the name, and you're each one in your own way, because you all have, you don't even know their stories, but you all have grandparents and great-grandparents, because we're all 2nd or 3rd generation. So, just do it. Oh my God. Okay. And one day I'll show you the picture of the whole family that the grandfather, one person left.